Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where we explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Boogaerts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about productivity and how it creates profit and business management for the creative mind, which many of us entrepreneurs are. And today, my guest with me is Debra Russell. And Debra, MBA, is an elite certified business coach and speaker and holds a master level certificate, in hypnosis and NLP. With 20 plus years of experience, she brings business savvy to your passion-based business to create your foundation for growth. She spent over half her life seriously ill or seriously injured and faced each challenge with humor and discipline. She epitomizes the catchphrase from Galaxy Quest, never give up, never surrender. And that has made all the difference. Welcome, Debra. So good to have you here.
Thank you, Elisa. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, me too. So tell me kind of how you got into this field of work and just why you're so passionate about it.
Okay. I'll try to make that as brief as possible because it was a long, winding road. But I was in the film and television industry. My goal was to be a producer director. I had a producer ready to produce my first feature film as a director, and I got sick. And I was very, very ill. I was bedridden for 3 years. I was housebound for about 10 years. So when people were complaining about COVID being housebound, I was like, oh, please hold my beer. Because we didn't have grocery delivery. Internet was just starting. So it was an interesting time to be housebound. So when I started to come out of that, when I started to feel better and feel like, okay, I'm never going back to film and television. I can't do 18-hour days. I probably will never be able to do 18-hour days. Now what? It was all I ever wanted. Right. So I kind of wandered around. I did a bunch of different things. I explored, and through a series of serendipities that, maybe someday we'll sit down with a glass of wine and I'll share them with you. Coaching found me, literally, coaching found me. And when I started looking, because this was 2001, no one had ever heard of coaching.
Right.
When I started exploring it, I was like, oh, this is a perfect match for who I am. And how crazy is that? So I started, I got certified. I went through a program. I got certified and literally launched my business. My practice was full in 3 months.
Wow. Amazing.
So that was, yeah. And then I started speaking in 2005, which brings in all of my theater experience, being on stage in front of people. And I love speaking. It's just so much fun to me. I know people really freak out about being in front of the room. To me, it's my happy place. I love it. It's not that I don't get butterflies, but I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I envy people like you. I'm definitely one of those fear-based being in front of the room people. So how do you think that we can reshape business to be more in integrity?
I think that business owners need to know themselves and need to learn kind of what organically works for them and doesn't work for them, and then figure out how to systematize those things so that they're repeatable and consistent. Yes. Because without consistency, your business doesn't grow. It's more of a roller coaster up and down instead of a, nice upward trending line. Yeah. And that's what happens a lot with small business owners, solopreneurs, people who maybe have one or two people that they're employing, or, I see contractors, but mostly they're doing everything themselves. They get busy because their marketing is working and they stop marketing.
Yeah.
So if they haven't created the container to continue those activities, their business is going to slump again. And then you don't grow. You just keep going up and down and up and down.
Right. Yes. I've seen that in myself for sure.
One of the first things I do with clients when they set a goal is this kind of starting point assessment. What's actually in place, what's working, what's not working, and so that we can build on what's working and we can redesign what's not working.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the answers to those questions, if you haven't spent some time getting to know yourself, understanding your business, then that's a very hard thing to do, right? How do you fix what's broken if you don't know what's broken?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that can be an interesting road to figure that out as well, because, there's so many options of ways that you can kind of get clients or how you can be more visible and all these different things. So you kind of have to test them out a little bit and see kind of what works, and kind of, and like you're saying, be consistent with it and try it for a bit and then be like, you know what, maybe I don't love that. Maybe I do love that. I find I get that kind of confused in my head a little bit. Sometimes I think like, oh, speaking, like I don't love speaking, but I had done a lot of speaking, which did make me visible to be more. And so now people know me. So I'm glad that I did that, but I haven't been speaking much. I do more networking now. So people still see me in that realm because I find that works better for me. But then I'm like, maybe I should get back into speaking a little bit because it did really help with my visibility. And so it's like this kind of like, which one do I do? I don't know.
or a combination. I do both. But
Yeah.
I will say the thing about speaking is that if you're on the stage and you're not god awful, right? You're not head down reading, you have your back to the audience and you're just reading your PowerPoint. Like if you're not really bad, you have instant credibility. You have instant authority. It's the star power effect. And there's no other realm that you get that, in my experience. There's just no other way to get that instant credibility because you're on the stage. And so people sit down and they look at you and they say, oh, she's there because she knows what she's talking about.
Right.
And that you can't get it any other way. But here's the trick if you're not comfortable about speaking. You have to remember that the audience is desperate for you to win, because there is nothing more uncomfortable as an audience member than a speaker who's not winning. Right? So the audience is rooting for you for the most part. Yeah, you might have one or two hecklers. You learn to deal with them. Usually I just make fun of them. But in a kind, loving way. But so yeah, just knowing that the audience is in your corner because they want you to be good. They want you to win.
Yeah. So let's dive into and give us some tips on how someone can create profits from productivity.
So productivity, first of all, is a ginormous topic, which there's no way we can get into the nitty gritty in this short conversation. The thing to remember about productivity, I'll give you a couple of top level things. First of all, productivity is not just your calendar. It's not just your habits. It's your mindset. It's your systems and structure. It's your habits. And then it's implementation. Because if you don't implement those changes in those three areas, they fall apart. You have to kind of have all three working for you for it to all work together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the mistakes that gurus make, that those time management gurus make. And I've learned, don't get me wrong, I've learned a ton from time management gurus, right? but they all tend to focus on just one thing,
Mm,
just
yeah.
habits or just structure.
Right.
So you have to have all three. Um, the second tip I will give you is small incremental changes one at a time. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
try to restructure everything all at once, something's going to happen in your life. You're going to forget a deadline, or someone's going to get sick, or like something's going to happen. Throw a wrench into that brand new structure, and then you will go back to your default, because
Right.
that's what we do under stress. We go back
Mm-hmm.
to our default, the habits that we've developed over our entire lifetime.
Yeah.
So small incremental changes, one piece at a time. You're building a house. You
Right.
can't put a roof on if you don't have the walls.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Right? Or it
Yeah,
all
and I love
falls
that
apart.
because like I know like before I kind of got into what I do now, I did health coaching and life coaching and it was the same thing. It's like anything you want to change, you got to do it small. And I always found that, especially when I was doing the health coaching, it's like January, it's like that same kind of syndrome that people have, right? They're like they get a health coach. It doesn't matter what time of year in that case, but like they get this health coach and they're like, yes, I'm going to do everything. I got this and I did this. And they do like they try and implement 20 changes and you're like, okay, we're only together for 3 months. Let's think of
Right.
three different goals and let's work on the first one first. But it's so hard to kind of bring them off that, that this mountain that they're climbing because they're so motivated and you're like, yes, keep up the motivation. But within a few weeks, things are going to fall off and then they're going to go right back to their old habits, just like you said. And so
Of
I hadn't really
course.
thought about that with business as well, that as you're an entrepreneur, you need to do it bit by bit by bit and just implement it one thing at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. And frankly, it's hard to do by yourself. It just is,
Yeah.
for a couple of reasons. One, you can't see what you can't see. And so having that external observer who can point out, well, what about this? And maybe this is what's going on, or what do you think is that about? Especially with mindset stuff, it's hard to
Mhm.
do by yourself. Just is. Um, but also when you get discouraged, when you have hard days, and believe me, I have a chronic illness. I have bad days. I have days when I don't get out of bed because that's just the way it goes, right?
Right.
It's hard if you don't have someone in your corner to say, okay, this is going on. Let's figure out how to adjust so that you're okay, right? Because we all have hard days. You don't have to have a
Mhm.
chronic illness to have hard days. We all have them, right?
Yeah.
So learning how to manage that and have someone in your corner who's not judging you, who's holding your feet to the fire to keep your word, while also giving you grace.
Hmm. Yes, yes. And I think that you also need to be really honest as well in times like that. I know I worked with some people or like with sort of an assistant who's helping me on a project. And I was like, okay, this is what's happening. Like, I know that you got this going on in your life and I know you got other clients and like, can you handle this? Like what, let's think of a different date that we said that we're going to quote that we're going to get all this stuff done by, like be nice to yourself and be like, no, I think I can get it done. And then ended up kind
It
of running
doesn't.
herself into the ground. And then she was making mistakes. And then the project went on weeks later, and I was like, oh, like, I kind of saw it and I gave her the opportunity to be like, let's be kind to you right now. How can we make this, but then I think some people, such people pleasers or want to do such a good job or think that they can do everything and kind of forget that sometimes, when life is lifing, we got to sort of give ourselves that time and that space to allow for those things to happen. And it could just be a day. Like yesterday, I had a great morning. And then all of a sudden, sort of 2, 3 o'clock came and I just fell into complete exhaustion. And I don't really know why, but I was like, I can't think right now. I can't anything. Like I'm just gonna go lie
Go
down
take a
for half
nap.
an hour. Yeah, I'm gonna go take a
Go
nap.
take
And
a
so I
nap.
had to like allow myself to have that because some days like it just can come out of nowhere.
Absolutely. I was doing a launch, and my VA, who lives in the corner of Florida, Milton happened while we were working on this launch. And she had no
Yeah.
electricity, she had no internet, she had no cell phone. She was like missing in action. I didn't know if she was alive. I mean, it was bad, right? And I just said, okay, I'm just going to do the things that I would have offloaded to her, because who knows how long it's going to take her to, come back and be functional again. So
Right.
yeah, it just life happens to
Mhm.
all of us. But I love that you went and took a nap. That is, I think we should all be napping every day. I don't know why we stopped after kindergarten. I think that we should be napping through our entire lives.
I agree. I love napping. I love sleep. There's some days I really like, I don't feel like I need it at all. I don't feel tired. But then, yeah, there have been definite phases of my life where it's like, nope, I'm taking a little 20-minute nap, just gonna lie down. Yeah, it blows my mind. Some people who just keep pushing and pushing and just, like, and don't give themselves enough sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not a good thing. So yeah, so that's a big value for me, is this whole concept of pacing your energy, because that's how I got myself well. I was told that I would be bedridden for the rest of my life. That was the prognosis I was given. And I'm like, nope, sorry, that's just not the way life's going to happen for me. And I learned pacing, and I am such an A type, go get them, hit it hard. And, you learn, you
Yeah.
learn and you shift. And pacing is what allowed me to get well.
Hmm. Absolutely. And do you have any another tip on how we can create profits from productivity?
Well, the
Consistent.
biggest thing that creates profit is consistency around marketing and around delivery and around working on your business, not just in your business, which is an E-Myth Michael Gerber concept. One of my required readings for my clients is the E-Myth Revisited. But the the only way you're going to have consistency is if you build it into your calendar
Mm,
and you actually follow your calendar. You do
yes.
what it tells you to do when it tells you to do it. Or if something comes up and makes that impossible, you don't just drop it out, you reschedule it.
Hmm.
And so having consistency around marketing, I mean, this is a bugaboo for me. Like, I just, I don't always feel like making those phone calls.
Yeah.
But that's how I filled my practice in 3 months. I made call after call after call after call every day. And we've gotten lazy. So we use email, we use text messaging, we use social media. Nothing works like a phone call. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
So scheduling, making those marketing calls every single day.
Yeah, yeah, that can be a hard thing. Or getting people like on your calendar as well. I think that like so you can get on a Zoom call or something like that.
Exactly.
Getting those booked in, and sometimes that requires, yeah, direct messaging somebody, texting somebody, or how do you get them on, or how do you even like, now's not a good time. You're on the phone. When can we actually meet to have a call?
Yeah, that's actually why I make the phone call. I make the phone call to book a Zoom conversation with them.
Right.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I don't just send them my calendar link and wait for them to take action. I make a phone call and then book them into a Zoom call or a coffee if they're local.
And do you have any sort of like how many kind of calls a week people should sort of try to get scheduled in? Is there any type of thing you recommend?
My coach says you call and call and call and call until, you know, they're they're like dead. And you just keep calling.
My question was more, no, I meant like how many people do you want to have a call with in a week? How many different
Oh,
people?
on a day? It
Yeah,
just it
day or
depends
week.
on my calendar. The way I've set up my calendar is I have certain hours that are client session hours. And if I don't have a client, I better be on the phone,
Right.
right? So if I'm not full that day, then I'm making phone calls because I need more clients,
Right.
right? And so
Awesome.
that's I've always worked it that way. Um, that's just how I think about it. So it's either a client or it's a marketing.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, this has been
All right.
awesome. That's so great chatting with you. Thank you for all these productivity tips. So
Of
Deborah, where can
course.
our listeners find you online?
Well, I'm giving Elisa a link for you guys for my ebook called Move from Overwhelm into Action, a guide to shift from procrastination into productivity. And so that's a quick ebook. You'll be linked to me through that, so you'll have my email. But my email address is really easy if you can spell my name. So it's Debra at DebraRussellCoaching.com. So no extra letters in the Debra, Debra, but 2 S's and 2 L's in the Russell. So DebraRussellCoaching.com is my website.
Awesome. Thanks for that. That sounds like a great ebook. Very excited to look at it myself. And to finish us off, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. You're going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to work. You're going to have to test. Just, give yourself some grace. You'll get it. You'll figure it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deborah. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thanks for being on the show.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.